Dear friends, thank you for the panel, and just a couple of final words. I think, as I said when we started, we were hoping for a kind of a more positive atmosphere. And I think we achieved that during our seminar, during our conference, because I remember how gloomy the whole thing was last year. And this year, and it's interesting how the environment changes the spirit of the conference. This year, it has been much more optimistic, much more forward-looking. And I think it's great, because it gives us a feeling of optimism. If people go from here, from the conference, take away this feeling, I think we have achieved something very positive. The discussions have been fascinating in many respects, I think. One is that we have learned so much new information. I mean, there has been, at least for me, there has been a wealth of information from different subjects, which we have learned simply by listening and by participating and by speaking in the panels. And I think this is the advantage of our conference. We don't expect people to come simply by status. We are happy to have people who have high status, but this is not the reason why they are invited. We try to invite people who can speak about the issues. And I think we have achieved that. Again, that is something which I personally greatly appreciate. I'm to some extent sort of commending myself or commending the institute, the people I represent, but I also try to reflect on how the Lennart-Meri conference, the 11th Lennart-Meri conference, has developed. And people are speaking very honestly here. Sometimes I'm listening at them and I'm thinking, do they remember that it's live streamed? Or should we remind it to them every time? And probably we shouldn't, and we don't. And it's great that people take such a freewheeling approach to this kind of discussion. And this has never harmed anybody's careers. I have never heard anybody saying, well, I said something in the Lennart-Meri conference, and people came back to me and sort of created trouble. We tried this time to have a conference where different views are clearly represented. This is not very easy, because occasionally it's difficult to find people from different walks of life who would be happy to come and sort of debate with each other. I mean, in the modern times, people like to listen more to themselves than to debate with others. I think there were people virtually in all panels who disagreed with each other. In some panels, like the panel over the US foreign policy, it became very heated. And it is evident that Donald Trump, as long as he's a president, will provide ample fodder for every international conference to have a deeply emotional debate. But I think such an emotional debate also reflects and opens up a lot more than kind of these formal debates. I think some conferences in Europe have turned into this kind of status conferences. And that's perhaps not good, and certainly I don't think Lennart-Meri conference wants to do that. I was extremely happy that President Niinistö came here. I mean, I must say this was a very emotional moment for me personally, and I think for everybody in this room. Estonians and Finns are sort of brother nations, and sometimes we hear in Finland, Estonia being commented, in Estonia, Finland being commented, and it's very easy to, and it's very good to have a highest representative of the Finnish nation here presenting his views. We are very happy that he came. So all in all, I think it was an optimistic conference and reflected the fact that there are optimistic times, at least at the moment, and obviously we all hope they will continue, but we cannot guarantee that. And finally, I would like to, with your help, thank the organizers, the people who played an enormous role, both the organizers, or the staff members and the volunteers, so that the whole process would work in a very smooth fashion, as I hope it did. At least it looked to me that it did. But I would in particular like to thank Riina Kaljurand, who is Riina is the director and the main organizer and really the soul of the Lennart Meri conference. And I'm really very grateful, and we all are, for your excellent work. It has been a very good conference. Thank you. Thank you, Riina. And thank you, everybody. And I will leave the last word to Riina.
Thank you very much, Jüri, for these kind words. Actually, your calm and wise support has been a huge contribution to this. But I will keep it very, very short. Actually, whenever we start planning the conference, we never know how this will end up, who will turn up, and what will be discussed. So every time it is also a surprise to us. But I think every time it turns out very well, and this is very much thanks to all of you. But before I go and thank all our supporters, I would like to correct a mistake that I made last year standing in front of you. We have had a tradition throughout the years to thank this very small core group of people behind this by name. And I forgot that last year. So this very small core group was a little bit sad, and I felt very bad about it. And I promised that I will make it up to you next year. The sad thing is that as I know that most of you, or many of you who have come back here very often, you remember Piret Sulger, who was the main logistical and administrative organizer who really held your hand when you were in trouble, or who organized your transport and did everything else. We lost Piret for an uncurable disease last autumn, and I never had a chance to make it up for her. So, Piret, wherever you are, I want to thank you. And I decided that this time I will really mention all these people who have done all this terribly difficult work by name. And I want to thank Elna-Eva Terasmägi, who really jumped into this madness for the first time without actually knowing anything about it, anything about the conference. And she has survived. So there she is. Thank you, Elna. And I want to thank Epp for this incredible work, for keeping up the tempo, and for setting us all these impossible deadlines. And I think that even if There were no deadlines. She invented them just to keep us in shape. And I would like to I would like to thank Johanna, who for the first time coordinated the volunteers and all the logistics. So actually we have a completely new team. And whenever something went wrong, I hope you understand that. And I want to thank Maris for organizing media, and I want to thank Ahto for organizing all the IT issues, and Emmet for coordinating all the social media side. And of course, my ICDS colleagues, Jüri and Thomas, Dima, and all the others, and the volunteers, of course. And now I go to the supporters, without whom we would never have been able to do this. Minister of Defense of Estonia, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Estonia, NATO, Vihuri Foundation, Elering, Hanfa, Defendec, Estonian Center of Eastern Partnership, Bay Systems, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, and Milrem. So really, a big applause to all of you. And please keep coming back to Tallinn.